I'll always be a fool. My own words ring in my head as I'm crushed in the back of the Citroen van between children and dogs. But isn't that what life's about? To be a fool, to dare, to dream, to risk everything. I'm not sure what's before me now as we bump and rattle down the avenue and take the road for Pau. I cannot deny that the patron's words have sown some fear in me. But I don't want to believe what he said. I want to trust what I feel. It's so important that I do so. And if I'm wrong about the gypsies, and they do trick and rob me, well, at least I'll have found out for myself. My heart's beating fast. I'm on the road with the great wanderers of the earth. You see, dreams do come true. You just have to work at them with your whole being. 13 of us are aboard, Tata at the wheel, Peter up beside him, Nato on her lap, from whose head she is picking fleas. The rest of us are in the back, eyes squashed between Tonino and Cella. We wend our way south through picturesque landscapes and remote villages, the gaily coloured blue and silver caravan trailing along behind us. We're in a convoy of 3. Suddenly we pull up at a crossroads. "Can you read?" asked Tata, turning to me. Yes. What does the signpost say?" I climb up to the front of the van and peer out of the window. "Toulouse." "Ha, that's the Lachi Drum, the right road," says Tata, slamming the vehicle into gear. "Stay up here in the front, you'll see the Pyrenees soon." And before long the gigantic ranges loom up on the western horizon. We drive towards them and then turn south. We're in Basque country, and the people in the villages from whom Tata asks directions, "Po, which way?" have a strange accent. Even I can notice it. It seems almost another language, and they're speaking almost another country here. We pull up in one of the village squares to buy bread from a boulangerie. It's strange the way people look at us. I detect a mixture of curiosity and fear. "Watch your pockets, lock your doors, the gypsies are passing through." An old, benevolent-looking fellow in a beret and carrying a stick has been besieged by the smaller children and is handing them coins. The girls, like splashes of colour in the stone square, are filling containers with water at the fountain, giggling as they put on a little show for the old men lining the bench, lifting their skirts, clapping their hands, and tap-dancing on the flagstones. Olé! The women are coming out of the boulangerie, laden with long loaves, and Nato's stuffing a handful of sweets into his mouth before he's caught with them. We jump back into the vehicles as the sonorous bell strikes the hour. The sun's begun its plummet towards the earth, and soon will vanish behind the mountains. That hint of melancholy which comes towards the evening has begun to pervade me, together with a sense of insecurity, uncertainty. Do I know where I'm going, or why? Things take on a different light when the day draws to an end. I'm alone in my thoughts. In fact, I feel quite alone and suddenly lonely. The sky's turned from blue to pink, and now it's darkening. We pull off the road, come to a halt. We're in a wild and desolate landscape. A deep river runs away under a bridge. This is the hour, the setting, in which to cosh me over the head. "We stop here tonight," Tata tells me as we get out of the van. "Tomorrow, Pau." The caravans are drawn up in a circle and a fire kindled in their midst. It's flaring up in the dusk. "Come and look for wood with me," says Tonino, tugging my arm. "All right," I laugh, happy now, and we race off to a nearby copse to look for sticks before it's too dark. The birds are nesting in the trees. Tonino pulls a catapult from his pocket along with some round, smooth stones. "Dick," he says, "look!" And he stretches his lethal weapon, aiming it into the branches. The stone rips through the leaves. "Dick," he says, taking aim again. This time there's a squawk, a shriek, and a little bird falls onto the ground, dead. Tonino rushes to it and picks it up, puts it in his pocket. We hear some voices a little way off in the wood, the snapping of twigs underfoot, whispers and giggling. "Shh," says Tonino, putting his finger to his lips, a mischievous glint in his eye. "Follow me, quick!" And he proceeds stealthily in the direction of the voices, not quite sure whether I should tag along behind him. We arrive just too late. Sylvia and Carmen, who'd come to the wood to make pee-pee, are pulling their skirts up, and upon seeing the rascally Tonino peering at them through the undergrowth, are hissing, "Giovette, Giovette, go away, go away!" Tonino laughs, but I feel myself going very red. I hope they didn't see me. I think anxiously how embarrassing if they did, and told everyone about it. But all the same, I muse, an involuntary shiver running through my blood. Supposing we'd arrived and seen them before they'd pulled their skirts up. We come back to the fire with armfuls of wood. Sylvia steps over to Tonino and starts to twist his ear. "Aye," he cries, dropping his load of sticks. "No, no, mon père, never again, never again." "Good," she says, letting him go and smiling at me. Tonino's always thinking of Minch, the little gypsy. There are some 26 of us here around the fire. There's Darko and Mungi's family. They were with us at the chateau, and the other caravans, Sinto and Zena's, who joined up with us last night. They can't be more than 16 years old, and they have a baby so young it hardly seems to have its eyes open. It's like a little fetal bundle in Zena's lap, curled up and sleeping. I'm handed a steaming bowl of soup, some bread and some wine. "Bout lacho mol," Tata says as he hands it to me. "Very good wine. The best from the chateau." The patron gave him a flag of the very best. It certainly tastes good and feels good as it imparts a glowing warmth to every fibre of my body and being. Tonino's grilling his cheklo over the flames, fending off Nato, who's trying to steal it. He's putting it inside a piece of bread and eating it, bones, head, feathers and all. Well, feathers actually have been burnt off, but... And now there's some excitement. Magini, who's been absent, is coming out of the darkness holding triumphantly a niglo, a hedgehog, curled up in a ball in his hands. He's been rummaging around the hedgerows with the dog and has come up with the prize he was seeking. Putting it on the ground, the dog snapping and barking at it, he draws his stick along its underside and starts rubbing the hedgehog's belly. This makes it uncurl, and with a quick movement he's brought the heavy stick down on its head and killed it outright. Now he's putting a thin stick into its bloody mouth and pushing it right through its body so it comes out the other end. He puts it on the fire, revolving it until all the spikes have been burnt off. And when he pulls it out, it's a black charred ball. With his knife he opens it and guts it and puts it on the grill. Soon an appetizing smell is everywhere, and eager faces watching as it spits and sizzles. Magini's looking at it covetously, but he knows full well that everyone's going to get a taste. Hedgehogs are a gypsy's favourite dish, by the way. Magini is very similar to Zingo, dark, swarthy, with eyes wide apart and a head like an arrow. At first I'd found them menacing, had been somewhat intimidated by their looks and their manner. But that was before I got to know them, before they took to me like brothers. "If anyone gives you shit, let us know," they'd said to me. No empty words for one night back at the chateau. We'd gone down to the village, a few of us, to the cafe in the square. I honestly don't remember who'd started it, for I'd been drinking hard like everyone else. But I found myself in a dispute with an obnoxious French fellow, nearly coming to blows, when Zingo and Magini, leaping over the tables, were at my antagonist's throat and choking the life out of him. Leave him alone in future, they hissed as they left him to stagger half dead out of the cafe. Zingo's fetched his guitar now from the caravan and sings an old Romany song. Tigani chai amansa, ano zenelo vesh, redamingi o freseli, cholinen tobaya, imani pori gaiga, mit trinsaiti pray, which means, little girl, follow me to the green wood. We'll pick strawberries and hide them down your blouse. I have an old violin with 3 strings on it. The sky is immense. Now and then a shooting star blazes a trail across a minute portion of the firmament. On the western horizon, the Pyrenees rise up in towering blackness. Tomorrow, Po, I think, as I look up from where I lie in my sleeping bag beside the fire. I pat the breast pocket of my coat folded under my head. Still there, my fingers feel the bulging envelope full of money. Chapter 7. Po. In a wood, a handful of miles from Po, is a walled compound known by the Gajos as the Camp des Nomades. Some 60 or 70 caravans are within a veritable gypsy citadel. I'm to have the ground pulled from my feet once again as I step down from the van and set foot in this vast encampment for the first time. Standing awkwardly amidst the multitude that's gathered round, I let Tata explain who the Gajo is before them. The hostile looks about me begin to thaw. They thought you were a spy, he tells me later. A spy? But I'm far too gullible and guileless for that. That's what I told them, says Tata. We laugh. As the days go by, I find myself being more and more accepted, if not yet as a pral, a brother, at least as a mal, a friend, and a traveller like themselves. I'm welcomed at the various fires throughout the encampment and invited into the caravans, campinas they call them, which are cosy and glitter like palaces. Tata's fixed me up with an old Citroen van for a home. There's a wide bed and a stove which I have roaring merrily on nights when I feel like being solitary. I roast chestnuts, write poems or my diary, add to my list of Romany words. Sometimes I just smoke and brood. But most evenings I'm at the fire, fascinated by the faces, the stories, the constant dramas enacted around them. I listen to the strange tongue, watch the quick, graceful movements. It's an ever-animated, shifting, kaleidoscopic stage, trodden by vibrant players and lit by flashing flames. Here comes Janko. He's had a fight with the Gajo in town, and now he's going through it, blow by blow. Gina, who stands quietly by the fire, is in love with him, and her eyes anxiously follow his every move. She doesn't know whether he won, as he says, or whether he ran. He's back, that's all she cares about. She'd like to clean those bleeding knuckles for him. He's probably been messing about with a Gajin in town. That's why he's got into a fight again. He'd better watch out, or he'll find himself hitched up to one. That'll sober him up. Oh, why won't he look at me? Here comes Chico. He comes with the news that there's been a break-in at the offices of a supermarket in town. People are putting it about that it's the gypsies doing. So there's bound to be a visit from the gendarme. A woman curses, putting all damnation on the head of the Gajo who gives rise to such slanderous rumours. She has a son who is languishing in jail because of one of these accusations. Peter's searching through little Nato's hair for fleas. He's standing there with nothing but a vest on, his thumb in his mouth, looking around him with wide eyes. He looks at me for a long time. He still